Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here with another first listen review. This is one that I have been really looking forward to, and I could not wait to listen to this one. Just got it today and just got done checking this out. Had to go through it a couple of them a couple times, even though I've heard a few of these already, but it is the new album from Extreme, so wonderfully titled Six. That's such an imaginative title there. This seems to be the thing to do nowadays. It seems kind of strange to me when bands just all of a sudden randomly decide to call their albums a number, but whatever. As long as the music's good, who cares, right? So anyway, this band I have loved since single one, Kid Ego, which I believe was the first single they ever did. Remember hearing that on MTV, fell in love with that song. I remember the video just being like them. It's a performance video, I guess, but it had like Gary Sharon just going nuts and jumping around, doing all kinds of stuff. And I remember going out and getting the cassette and just really loving that whole album. It's still one of my favorites of theirs. Actually, the first three of theirs are great. A couple in the middle there that not my favorite, but. I guess it's just the one in there in the middle that I don't really care for too much. But anyway, I was really looking forward to this one. So in case you guys have not heard it yet, I'm just going to kind of run through it. It's one thing I remember about when I first heard these guys was, obviously Nuno's guitar work is like insanely good. I actually got myself a Nuno guitar. I've had that since I can't remember what year, but early 90s. I've had that. I've played it on so much of my stuff. I've written so many songs on it. It's crazy. Pat Badger, one of my favorite bass players, so underrated. He actually has a solo album out, two of them now, but I've only got the first one, and it's amazing how great that is just on his own and how good he sings. It's amazing he doesn't sing more in this band. He does background vocals, but he doesn't get to share any of the leads like Nuno gets to, but he's got a great voice too. So get a chance to check out some of his solo stuff. And he teamed up with Jason Bieler in that Super Transatlantic, which was a fun album, and I love Saigon Kick, and Jason Bieler is amazing. So there's stuff there you should check out. Of course he did that. I guess it was almost Extreme with the Tribe of Banshee there, or not Tribe of Banshee, Tribe of Judah. That they did without Nuno, and there's so many side projects. Nuno did he's got a ton of side projects too. Morning Windows, I've got a bunch of that stuff in the solo album, and it's weird how he does not shred on any of that stuff. I guess he's been playing with Rihanna for a while now, and doing all kinds of stuff. But I'm glad these guys all got together. I was going to say, Pat Badger, when I first heard his playing, he's actually one of the reasons I had to get myself a Spectre bass. And I didn't get one until just maybe like 4 years ago. I got my very first one, and I use that as my main bass now when I'm playing out. I wish I would have gotten one years and years and years and years ago, because I love it, and it's because of this guy mainly that I wanted that, because I love the sound. And anyway, to put it mildly, I was excited for this album. Even though I've heard the first four songs, it's funny that they released actually the first four songs already, like in a row. I think they did two of them in one day, if I remember right. It was like Rebel and Banshee, or Rise and Rebel. I think they did two of those. They did both on the exact same day. I can't even remember now. And I just got done, listening to Other Side of the Rainbow here, I don't know, a week or two ago, whenever that was released. I don't remember, but interesting video for that one. So I'd heard all these, and you guys may have heard them, but I'm still going to kind of run through this really quick anyway. Obviously, Rise is the one that everybody was like giving all the attention to, and let me tell you, that song kicks in. It's got a cool riff. At first I was like, yeah, it's the riff is okay, but the more I listen to it, the more I'm digging it. It's got that classic Extreme groove, and the solo in that thing is just insane. If you have not heard this song, the solo alone is just worth the price of admission. I'm telling you, it's a great solo. Nuno did not let down on that song, actually any of these. Rebel, another rocker, another great solo on that, and the video for that one was pretty cool too. Banshee was also right along those same lines. Killer. Other Side of the Rainbow is where they kind of start switching things up a little bit. You got the 12 string. I think there's some pedal steel there, or lap steel. I mean, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know that instrument too well. Forgive me. But some cool stuff going on in that one. It starts, I don't want to say it sounds like anything, because a lot of their songs, they use that same type of instrumentation. They use a lot of acoustic, and several of their songs, and none of them sound alike, so I can't really compare any of them. But it's it's got that upbeat feel like Wholehearted had, although it sounds absolutely nothing like Wholehearted, so don't confuse what I'm saying there. But just a cool song and great melodies. So in case I haven't mentioned that, yeah, these guys, their harmonies and their melodies are so catchy and like spot on. I mean, perfect, spot on, which it's like nice to hear the time and effort they put into like the little details of having those vocal harmony is so good. And then it slows down a little bit more with Small Town Beautiful. Nice, cool song. Obviously, I hadn't heard that one yet. A lot of more acoustic stuff going on there, but still, sounding different than anything else they've ever done before. I actually remember an interview I saw way back with Gary Cherone was explaining the name of the band Extreme. They chose that name because they didn't want to be pigeonholed in any certain type of music. He actually used Queen as an example, because what does Queen describe as music? Nothing. It's Queen as Queen, and he kind of wanted Extreme to be the same way. Just extreme music was extreme. Didn't want to like copy or sound like other bands or be limited to any certain thing. And so they're continuing on with exploring different things. No concept with this album, by the way. They didn't follow any type of concept like they did on a couple of their earlier ones, but it doesn't matter. Songs are killer. This is now track number 6, The Mask. Probably my least favorite one on here. It's got Nuno singing like a good chunk of the verses, and he's singing in a really strange, really deep voice. Didn't care for that at all, but Gary kicks back in, kind of brings the song back to life and makes it more like what I would want from Extreme, even though I just contradicted myself by saying they're experimenting and trying different stuff. Didn't care for the singing that Nuno was doing there. Other than that, another good song. Other than that little thing there, Thicker Than Blood. They get a little bit weird on that one. They almost like Tribe of Judah-ish, like a industrial feel to it, a little sludgy, and probably at this point the heaviest thing they've done on the album. Not one of the strongest songs on the album, but not a bad song. They're just trying something different, as they always do. Obviously, not every song is going to be as good as the other, and this one's like not bad. It just wasn't as strong as the stuff that's already been on here. And one thing, actually, I forgot to mention, when I first put this album on, I mean, immediately, instantly, I didn't remember this from when I was watching, Rise on YouTube, but I thought something was wrong with my stereo because it sounded really muddy, and I was like, I didn't remember it sounding muddy. So after I got done listening to the disc, I kind of checked it out on Spotify, and it actually has the same muddy sound on like every single song. It's not horrible, but it's got a really mid feel to it, like a mid-tone feel to it, and it just kind of sounds a little bit, I don't know, like that's not crisp at all. There's like not that crispiness like some of the earlier stuff had, and I'm not sure what the deal is with that, if it was just mastered not great, somebody goofed something up there or what, but unfortunately that one little negative about this, because the whole album kind of suffered from that. Now track number 8, Save Me, probably my favorite song on the whole thing. That one was killer, just a great song, powerful. The riff in that, probably drop D, I'm guessing. I didn't play along with him, just kind of listened to it, but it's got a drop D sound, and it sounds, at first I thought, oh, it's just kind of a generic basic riff, but the more I listened to it, I was like, oh, there's a lot more going on there than, especially when the second verse kicked around, I was like, oh yeah, it's got a lot more involved stuff going on there than I originally thought there was. So definitely killer song. Hurricane, they start to slow it down a little bit, or a lot on that one. And Nuno's singing a lot on this album, like lead stuff, a lot more lead than I remember him singing on anything else. And, which, I don't know, his voice is decent, but it's not as good as Gary. Gary, in my opinion, Gary sounds great singing for Extreme. His voice is perfect for Extreme. On some of the other stuff I've heard him do, like Van Halen, for instance, and even Tribe of Judah, or Hurt Smile, for that matter, just not bad. It didn't fit as well as it does with Extreme. I think his voice is perfect for the styles of music, and it goes great along with the stuff that Nuno comes up with, and they harmonize so well together. Like Nuno and Gary definitely harmonize better than like half the bands out there nowadays, and I think that's Nuno's strength, is harmonizing along with Gary instead of trying to take over lead. So I kind of maybe wish he'd backed off a little bit on some of the lead singing here. Exile was when I first kicked in, it was like, I wasn't liking it too much when it first started. It's got like a synthesizer, kind of very low, deep synthesizer sound going on, but then I realized how much it was grooving along with the bass by the time the second verse kicked in. I started really digging it. By the time it got to the end of the song, I was like, okay, that was a cool song. So that one won me over by the end. And track 11, when it first kicked in, I was like, it's called Beautiful Girls. Wasn't sure if that was going to be the Van Halen cover or not, but it was not at all. Although it's funny, there's a little kiss at the end of it that I think might have been a tip of the hat to Van Halen, because Nuno did make the comment in one of the interviews that he was trying to, carry on the legacy of, Eddie, and he felt the need that he had to do that with this album, which I haven't mentioned a lot of these songs. Each all have killer solos. I mean, just wasting my time saying that, because I don't think he's ever played a bad solo, but they're very unique on their own, and he does shred on this album. I will give him that. He's a killer guitar player. He comes off in some of his interviews as a little arrogant, and maybe that comment there may come off as arrogant to people, but I think I understand what he's trying to say. Is this is my take on it anyway, is that there aren't a lot of guitar players out there that are shredding like Eddie, or carrying on with Eddie influenced a lot of players, and he gets, unfortunately blamed for influencing a lot of bad guitar playing or copycats. I don't consider Nuno a copycat at all. I think Nuno's got his own style, but he was very heavily influenced to play guitar by Eddie, and I think what Nuno was trying to say is that he should carry on with that and the influence that he got from Eddie, and and Nuno's obviously influenced a lot of guitar players as well, and carry on with that, not sounding like Eddie or copying what Eddie was doing, just carrying on with the guitar playing and what he's been able to do with his style, and how he was influenced by Eddie to play guitar in his own way. That's the take I get away from it. Anyway, back to the songs. Now, when this first kicked in, and I was like, oh, it almost sounded like an upbeat Wholehearted or something like that. And I was like, but quickly was changed when the bass and the drums kicked in, and it became a very upbeat, catchy, almost like a party sounding song. And once again, amazing harmonies, and it's like a shreddy type guitar solo in this with the pop song, but it fit perfect, and it's got kind of almost I don't want to say a reggae feel, but it's got, because it goes along with the beat. It doesn't kind of go against it like reggae does, but it had that I don't know, sitting by the poolside, jamming, singing along with your friends type feel to it, which is funny because that leads into the last song, Here's to the Losers, another more acoustic guitar. A lot of acoustic guitar on this album too, and it's almost like by the time the song ends, it's just a bunch of people singing. Obviously not just the band, they probably have extra people singing at the end. It's got a fake ending there too, by the way, just spoiler alert. Although I said spoiler alert after I gave away the spoiler. But anyway, there is a little bit extra there at the very end. And it's kind of starts out a little slow and then just gradually builds to like this big epic type sounding, almost like We Are the Champions type feel, except maybe not quite that powerful, but just the upbeat. Even though it's called Here's to the Losers, it's got actually a positive message to it. But anyway, that's my take on the new album. I was really digging it. Forgot to mention that it's got the one member on here, Kevin Figueroa. I don't even know how you say that, but he's been with the band for quite some time now. I think 2008-ish. They did the reunion. Maybe that was Geary was playing drums in that, and then he left, and I think he took over right around then. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check my time frame on that one, but he's been with them for quite a while now anyway. Even though they have been extremely active, he's done everything with them since that point, as far as I know. I know there's some weird stuff in the middle years there, where even Pat Badger didn't play a few shows, and they had the keyboard player added in, and they did some weird stuff in the middle there. But this is basically just the three original guys with a different drummer, and they've been doing that for a while. And I'm gonna say this is probably one of my favorite albums they've done since 3. Three Sides to Every Story. So even though that was a little bit more clever of a title than just 6. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about this one. I know that I went on and on this one, so I'm sure this is going to be a longer one than I normally do, but it's a lot to say about this one. I was really, really, really enjoying this album, and you guys should all check it out. If you're an Extreme fan, you're going to love it. If not an Extreme fan, you're probably going to love this anyway because it's killer. That's all I'm saying. Really loved it. I'm going to say 9 out of 10, only because there's a couple little weird things in there I didn't care for, and it does have that muddiness to it. But if you can get past that, it's a great album. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff that I always say, and make sure you leave your comments down below and tell me what you think. Talk to you guys next time. See you.